Hey y'all, welcome back to the Dope Black Chick podcast and happy new year. I'm really glad that you guys are here, okay? Especially for this conversation because today we're talking about something that I know a lot of us are feeling. Even if we haven't quite found the words for it yet, that feeling is the feeling of being called to more. And I want to start by saying this: being called to more doesn't mean hustling harder or becoming somebody else. For me, being called to more means expanding yourself, allowing yourself to be full, allowing yourself to experience the fullness of who you are, the fullness of life, the fullness of this experience. It's that quiet nudge that says there's more here for you and you're allowed to have it. I didn't necessarily feel like this year was going to be different, right? Not that it was going to magically be different. I felt like what really shifted is that I chose to be different. That choice happened for me back in December. And if you've been following the show, you know that December was my month of good, right? In December, I made a very intentional decision. I was going to start speaking good every single day. And the reason I did that is because what I realized was we are actually programmed to expect the worst in just about every situation. Think about the sayings we've grown up hearing. It's too good to be true. Everything that glitters ain't gold. If it looks good, something must be wrong. We are conditioned to expect the negative, and we don't even realize like how deeply that can shape your life. And here's the thing: those of us who understand the law of attraction, the law of manifestation, we know that we have creative power. And so, what we expect, what we think about consistently, what we emotionally embrace, we create. So, when negativity becomes your default expectation, we're literally creating an atmosphere around us that reflects that. So in December, I asked myself, what would happen if I expected good instead? Like, what if I woke up every day expecting good, thinking good thoughts, replacing fear with good, replacing dread with good? Because if the law gives us what we expect, then expecting good should produce good, right? And that's exactly what started happening for me. Then on New Year's Day, I was texting with my best friends, and one of them said, this is my year of me. Another one said, this is my year of alignment. And I love that for both of them. And without overthinking it, I said, this is my year of more. And it clicked just like that because I realized that for a long time, I had been withholding from myself. Not because I didn't deserve abundance, but because abundance literally scared me. I'll get to that. I had to ask myself some real questions like, why does the idea of abundance feel overwhelming for me? Why does receiving a flood of good make me tense instead of joyful? And that was the work that I started doing in the third quarter of 2025. So when I said, this is my year of more, what I was really saying, guys, is I am willing to accept. I am willing to receive. I am expecting more because more is good. And I didn't want to start this year with any resolutions or pressure. Resolutions are just goals. You can hit those at any time. So stop stressing about not hitting something the first week of the year. Like, really, don't even stress. This year isn't about pressure for me. It's about ease because I'm committed to that now. Years ago when I first started my practice, I lived by three words. If you know, I've been doing this intentional practice since 2019, right? And three words were what I lived by: flow, not force. Flow, not force. And I'm telling you guys, when I flowed, my life flowed. From that period from 2019 to 2023, everything that I could think of came to fruition in my life. But then I started forcing it. And when I forced it, I hit some rocks. That tension, that's called pressure. So this year, I'm not forcing anything. When my spirit said, this is your year of more, my whole body said yes. So today, I want to talk to you guys about why you feel called to more and what to do with that feeling. Now, let's talk about that call to more. That call to more usually doesn't come when life is perfect. It shows up when things feel off. When you're exhausted, when life feels chaotic, when negativity feels loud, when things aren't flowing the way you hope they would. And most people think that means something is wrong with them. I ain't even gonna front. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what have I forgotten how to do? Something, it had to be me. But what I've learned is it actually means the opposite. That tension, that discomfort, that sense of dissonance, that's not failure. That's awareness. It's your spirit recognizing that where you are no longer fits who you're becoming. For me, it felt like I was taking this big personality, this expansive spirit, and trying to shove it into a very tiny space, a space that I had outgrown. And of course, there was going to be tension there. Of course, it felt uncomfortable. Of course, there was no peace because I was trying to be less than what I actually am. Peace and ease are signs of fullness. When you're in the right space, you don't have to contort yourself to fit in it. But when you feel like you have to shrink yourself, when you're editing yourself to survive, when you're holding back parts of who you are, that space is too small for you. That discomfort not asking you to shrink. It's asking you to expand. It's actually saying to you, there's a bigger container available, one that can actually hold you. So your fullness is not the problem. Your fullness is being withheld. So if the call to more is real, and it is, why do so many women ignore it? I think there are two main reasons to that, and I'm going to break them down. The first is familiarity. You don't outgrow something immediately. You've spent time there, and that space probably served you once. It might have even been home. So even when it becomes uncomfortable, you stay because it's familiar. This is what I know. This is what I'm used to. This is what I've always done. Familiarity can keep us in spaces that we've outgrown, not because they're good, but because they're known. The second reason is fear. More can be scary. It wasn't always scary for me. It actually became scary because of trauma. And when you stepped into fullness before and lost it or something happened, you were shut down, something was taken away, the ground shifted. Your nervous system learns that more isn't safe. I see this all the time with Black women in corporate spaces. A woman works hard, she ascends the corporate ladder, she earns her place. And then instead of being free, she has to shrink even more. Her excellence is a threat. Her voice is monitored. You're too aggressive. Her presence becomes something that she now has to manage. And yet, because she's familiar with that level, because she's already climbed so far, she stays. Fear says, what if I leave and it doesn't work out? What if I can't pay my bills? What if I fail publicly? So instead of honoring the call to more, we negotiate with the space we've outgrown. And that deserves compassion, not judgment. So if the call to more isn't telling you to quit everything, if it's not asking you to blow up your life, what is it asking? I think the answer is simple. It's asking you to live. Anytime that you sacrifice a part of your experience, a part of your being, just to stay comfortable, that's not authentic living. That's existing. That's performing. That's managing life instead of experiencing it. Life is short. And when it's over, the regret is usually about what we didn't do. So when that nudge comes, it's calling you to live fully, live in your truth, live in your desire, live in your expansion, live in your purpose. Because if it wasn't part of your purpose to want more, you wouldn't even feel that pull. So ask yourself, whose purpose am I living for? My mama's, my grandma's, society's, or is it your own? The call to more isn't asking you to abandon everything. It's simply asking you to come back to yourself. So, this is what I want you to take with you from this episode. I want you guys to feel validated. You know, that feeling that you have, it's real and it's right. And I want you to be open to receiving more. I'm not asking you to demand more. I'm not asking you to do extra work. I'm simply asking you to expect more. Expect good days. Expect joy. Expect alignment. Expect peace. Expect opportunity. You'll be amazed what shows up when you change your expectation. More joy, more laughter, more purpose, more abundance, not because you forced it, but because you made room. And let more be the atmosphere you have chosen to live in. And remember, if you feel called to more, you're already closer than you think. As always, stay dope, peace and blessings.